Hey, Cyclibetic here again, part 2 of my DAFNE series. If you haven't seen the first one, there's a link to it in the description down below. Please feel free to check that out as well as all my other videos. Hope you enjoy them all. So, last DAFNE course day was day 2. We got so much out of it. It's just proven to me that doing it on a week by week basis gives you so much more than doing it as one solid week's course. The main reason for this is the first hour or so of the course we're just discussing how the last week went for us each. There was only a few of us, so we were able to go quite in depth on how things had gone. It gives the nurses a chance to feedback and let us know how the changes we implemented after the first week's course have affected us and what we can do to change that. So really do recommend this way of doing the course. I really feel that that's the way it should be done. So the main focus on the session was how the insulin we're taking works, when it peaks in our system, how long it's working in our system, and leading on from that, how to spot trends in our blood sugars to figure out what is causing hypos and hypers. The way they did this was we were given several sheets that had a series of blood sugar readings over a series of days. What we had to do was find the problem, whether it was lows or highs, just then decide what injection was causing that, not enough insulin, too much insulin, and what's the best course of action. In some cases where it's obviously the breakfast or the lunch or the dinner, they're not giving enough, so therefore they should put their ratio up, or they're giving too much, takes the ratio down. The basal ones were a little tricky. Some of them were obvious, sort of for the evening basal injections. For those of you who are on multiple daily injections and splitting your basal, you take one before you go to bed, one when you wake up in the morning generally. So spotting problems overnight was quite simple, as during basal testing overnight you'll take a blood sugar reading when you inject, one at around 3 in the morning before your hormones are releasing and then upping your blood sugars potentially, and then a waking reading. So they were quite easy to spot trends in. Afternoon problems with it, stemming from morning injections, were a little trickier. For instance, there was one example where most of us got this wrong. The hypo was occurring late afternoon around 4 p.m. The lunchtime fast-acting insulin injection was around about noon. From what we were discussing in the morning, the fast-acting insulin will be all used up out of the system by then. Therefore, that lunchtime injection would have had nothing to do with that hypo. So there we were told something that I never would have considered is that the morning basal was actually infecting that hypo. So never really would have crossed my mind, but that being discussed, I started to spot trends in my own sugars that were late afternoon hypos. And how was I treating them? By adjusting my lunchtime insulin, and it was not fixing them. So I have now this week tried changing my basal insulin. I was taking 10 units in the morning, I've now dropped that down to 8. I'm currently on Lantus, which, if you're not familiar with Lantus, any change you make can take a few days to present itself in your system. So I was still getting hypos for a few days. Recently I'm not quite hypoing, but I'm getting close to it, so it's starting to affect the change in my system. However, that's going to change now, as from my next DAFNE session I will be changing from Lantus to DAFNE, which from what I understand, any change in dose should affect me that day, which is going to benefit me so much as I'm such an active person. As you can tell from being Cyclibetic and my other videos, my job is even incredibly active. So being able to just change that dose for that day is going to help me so much. I don't know when I'm going to go on a big ride. Some days I just decide I'm going to do it. So with Lantus I can't really adjust my dosage. Hopefully on DAFNE I can just dial it down that morning, go on a long ride, and I'll be fine. So really looking forward to this. Next session I'm really looking forward to as well. This has been told it's mainly focused on exercise. From the first 2 sessions alone, it's just caused me so many questions relating to exercise. So hopefully this will answer a lot of them. I'll be able to get a lot more out of my exercise, be able to train a lot harder with better blood sugars. So hopefully this session goes really, really well. So I just cannot recommend DAFNE enough. If you are considering speaking to your medical team about it. Don't just think about it, do it. Really get onto them, find out if it's being run in your area. If not, why not? Just try and get on the waiting list for it. Get on one as soon as you can. Honestly, I just cannot recommend it highly enough. I've got so much out of it. One of the biggest things I've got out of it is my sense of where my sugars are. Previous to doing a DAFNE, a hyper, I wouldn't realise I was in until I was between 16 and 20. Whereas now I'm actually noticing the symptoms a lot sooner, around about 11 and 12, which is a number I used to run at all day quite frequently. Whereas since starting DAFNE, I'm not anywhere near that very often. I've had the odd reading there, but not many at all. I'm now running more between 6 and 8. I'm also actually noticing hypers more. I'm starting to feel them in the 4s, which is a better time to notice it, because then I'm in what my nurses are calling the eat to treat phase. So I can treat it before actually going hyper. Although one, I suppose, downside of this is, being on DAFNE, is yes, I have got this better control, but I'm also hypoing a lot more, which I'm not really liking, but hopefully by the time I finish DAFNE, this will all be sorted out. So I'm really looking forward to this next session, and the next two after that as well. So I'll continue to do these videos, keep you updated on how they're all going. So thanks for tuning in, and hope you keep an eye out for the next one. Until next time, bye.